of DangerVille, it's your mayor Alistair back once again, bringing you some more Godzilla and Kong goodness. With more -1 goodies expected to come within the next few days, we thought it would be the perfect time to recap everything we know about the other upcoming Godzilla film, The New Empire. So, what can we expect from the film? Who's making it? And how will their fingertips affect the quality of it? Well, let's get into it. Remember to subscribe and stomp the notification button to keep up to date with everything Godzilla and Kong related. Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire was first revealed on the 19th of April 2023, previously known by its working title, Origins. The synopsis for the film goes as such. This latest entry follows the explosive showdown of Godzilla vs. Kong with an all-new cinematic adventure, pitting the almighty Kong and the fearsome Godzilla against a colossal undiscovered threat hidden within our world, challenging their very existence and our own. This epic new film will delve further into the histories of these titans, their origins, and the mysteries of Skull Island and beyond, whilst uncovering the mythic battle that helped forge these extraordinary beings and tied them to humankind forever. It was confirmed Adam Wingard will be returning from Godzilla vs. Kong to direct The New Empire, which marks the first time in the Monsterverse that a director has returned to helm the follow-up. This means tonally, thematically, and aesthetically, we can expect the sequel to actually feel like a true continuation. Where other Monsterverse sequels varied in tone and style, Godzilla and Kong will feel like a true successor to Godzilla vs. Kong. Which is great if you're a fan of the previous film, but maybe not so great if you came out of the theater disappointed. I'm happy because I loved Godzilla vs. Kong, though tonally, we know there will be a few differences from its predecessor, with the sequel delving deeper into the science fiction genre, with some things that viewers that are after a more grounded film may not like. Though the film will be darker than the previous film in some aspects, which was hinted at from its initial teaser. Though possibly more important than the directing is the writing. Who's writing The New Empire? Well, behind the pen are Terry Rossio and Simon Barrett. Rossio has previously written animated classics like Aladdin and Shrek, as well as Pirates of the Caribbean and, of course, Godzilla vs. Kong. Though Simon Barrett, newcomer to the Monsterverse, seems to have been brought over from some of Wingard's previous films, The Guest, Blair Witch, You're Next, and more, so his track record is a little messy. I do hope Wingard made the right choice in bringing him to co-write the film and didn't just choose him to help out his friend. And behind the camera is Ben Serrazin, returning as the director of photography. If you know the name, he was the cinematographer for World War Z, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, and of course Godzilla vs. Kong. Serrazin brought an excellent sense of scale to the film by featuring human perspective shots that really made the monsters feel huge. And the fights were the clearest and most impactful that we've seen in the Monsterverse. So I expect Godzilla and Kong to only improve on the elements he exceeded in with the previous film. Although one thing that's new are the cameras. The New Empire was shot on IMAX MSM 70mm film cameras with panovised Canon 1200 lenses, which would make this the first Monsterverse film to be presented in a 15:70 format, which will allow this to be the biggest Monsterverse film yet. Previous films in the series had black bars at the top and bottom, which didn't really help emphasize the monster's huge scale. But in Godzilla and Kong, we'll get a much wider screen to really amp up the sheer size of the titans and the badass action sequences. And in terms of visual effects, top-tier studios ILM, Digital Domain, Weta, Framestore, and MPC are all working on it, which will help it become the best-looking Monsterverse film to date. The score will also be composed by Tom Holkenborg, also known as Junkie XL, acclaimed composer behind the Mad Max Fury Road score, as well as Justice League, and of course, Godzilla vs. Kong. His score for GVK got mixed reactions as far as I can tell. I remember being quite mixed about it. It was a decent score, but without any of the iconic classic tracks, it just fell short of the King of the Monsters score. But I'm hoping he can really nail down the overall sound leading into Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire. Now, in terms of actors, we have some returning favorites from Godzilla vs. Kong, but with some new cast members as well. You've got Rebecca Hall returning as Dr. Eileen Andrews, of course with Kaale Hottel as the fan-favorite character, Gia. Brian Tyree Henry also returns as the conspiracy theorist Bernie Hayes, who now potentially has a job at Monarch. And in terms of new actors, we have Dan Stevens serving as one of the leads. And whilst this guy looks very similar to Alex Skarsgård, his role will be very different. He was originally meant to be the grandson of Bill Randa from Skull Island, although as far as I know, the plans have changed and they've cut all ties with that character.
Oh, shit.
Rachel House from Hunt for the Wilder People and Thor Ragnarok, as well as Alex Ferns from Andor and Chernobyl fame, will also be making an appearance in the film. But little is known about their roles, other than knowing they're some great actors, and I have no doubt they'll be adding some extra charm to the film. Of course, we can't forget the thing everyone goes to these films to see: monsters. What can we expect from the film? Well, obviously, Godzilla and Kong will be the leading titans, with Kong acting as the driving force for the story, much like in Godzilla vs. Kong. We could really sympathize with the character, so using him as the main protagonist really benefits a story entirely based around monsters. But in terms of antagonists, we have the Scar King, the ancient titan we saw in the title reveal. And he's not alone. He has a pet named Shimo, which is being referred to internally as the First Titan. Based on the shooting locations, we can expect the monsters to show up in a variety of locations across the world, notably Brazil, Egypt, Rome, and many more. The film will also explore the previously set up world known as the Hollow Earth, a wide-open space filled with monsters found within the Earth's crust. In an interview with Deadline, Adam Wingard suggests that the new empire will build upon the lore of the Hollow Earth, stating he believes that by exploring and explaining the Hollow Earth, Godzilla and Kong can offer more about where these titans came from, how they got there, and why they rose to the surface. He also cites that the previous films have garnered enough mystery surrounding the location, and that he, much like the viewers, want to see those questions answered. So I expect Kong to be doing most of the exploring within the Hollow Earth, whilst Godzilla protects the surface from monsters that are making their way to cities across the world, all whilst the Scar King watches and manipulates from behind the scenes like some big chimpanzee mastermind. After Godzilla vs. Kong opened to audiences and critics' approval, are there any hints to how the new empire is going to perform? Well, the film underwent test screenings earlier this year, and from it, a detailed description of the plot was leaked online. We've refused to address the leaks, as we believe it disrespects the artists working tirelessly to deliver us a quality product. But one positive thing that came from all of it was that the test audiences seemed to love it, and that the viewers were laughing with the film, and people don't tend to laugh with a boring film. This tells us some elements of the story may get quite ridiculous, but hopefully will still be enjoyable. We would have also expected reshoots to have taken place by now if the test screenings weren't going well. Godzilla vs. Kong went through extensive reshoots, which transformed the film from a slower, more dark and serious film to the more light-hearted, action-packed film we ended up with, which tells us they're confident in the story they're delivering and that everything from the production to the editing is going very smoothly, which only gets me more excited to finally get to see the end film. But when can we see it? The release date for Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire is March 15th, 2024. Its closest competitors will be Kung Fu Panda 4, A Quiet Place Day 1, Ghostbusters Afterlife 2, and Snow White. If things continue as they are, the film has a good chance at being the biggest MonsterVerse film to date, although one big issue lies in its way. With the writer and actor strikes, certain films are being delayed since actors cannot appear in premieres or actually promote the films. There have been talks going on behind the scenes of delaying Dune 2, the other legendary film, to next year. Hopefully a deal will be made before then, because the success of The New Empire will guarantee Godzilla's place in Hollywood going forward. Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire is set to be an explosive follow-up to the previous film, becoming a more global story than ever, with a scale of apocalyptic proportions. It'll develop the monsters like never seen before, and will hopefully have improved writing for the human characters. Are you hyped for The New Empire, or are you apprehensive after Godzilla vs. Kong? Let us know in the comment section down below. Remember to subscribe and stomp the notification button to become a resident of DangerVille today. Be sure to give this video a Kong-sized thumbs up. I've been Alistair, and we'll see you residents in the next one.